Katie needs to convince her grandfather, Ben Pendleton, who is bluegrass music royalty, to perform after years. She takes help from Grant, whose father is trying to shut down her horse sanctuary. Sarah seems worried as her husband, Don, climbs a ladder to place an angel on top of their Christmas tree. Their daughter, Katie, is afraid of catching him if he falls. Don still believes that it's his duty to place the angel on top of the tree like every year. They admire Katie's craftsmanship from 5th grade. Jim Breckenridge drops by to get a look at Chocolate, an old horse at Katie's sanctuary. When he learns that Chocolate is doing better, he wants his son, Grant, to pick him up the next day. Katie doesn't think Chocolate is ready to race yet because he can break his leg again. Jim reminds her that he donates a lot of money to keep the sanctuary running. When Don tries to intervene, Katie is still angry and refuses to let Jim take Chocolate away. Jim knows that Katie can't legally refuse to let him have the horse. He threatens to sue her and refuses to donate anything to their sanctuary. After losing their largest donor, Don is worried about how they will make things work. Unless they raise enough money by January for next year's budget, they will have to close the sanctuary. Katie drives down to her grandfather, Ben Pendleton's place. Ben is watching an interview of famous county artist Claire Crosby at home. Claire mentions how grateful she is to Ben and the Blue Mountain Revival for where she is today. They had an influence on her music and taught her a lot in her early days. Ben helped her with her first professional gig and has taught her to play from the heart. When Katie comes over, it's clear that Ben doesn't like to get out of the house or use technology. Katie still convinces him to drop by the sanctuary the next morning to meet his old horse, Billy. Grant is impressed that Katie's horse is named after Bill Monroe and thinks she must love bluegrass. He's impressed when he learns Ben is her grandfather, since he remembers him as a legend. When he mentions Chocolate, Katie realizes that he's Jim's son. He can tell Katie is upset with Jim and asks her to fill him in about what happened over coffee. Grant is a lawyer who wants to make a difference in the world. He offers to help when he learns that Jim is pulling her sanctuary's funding. He knows that Jim can't be reasoned with, so he suggests organizing a fundraiser to save the sanctuary. He knows that Ben, who is bluegrass royalty, is the perfect face for this concert. Ben hasn't picked up an instrument since Katie's grandma passed away 20 years ago. Katie knows she can't change his mind about playing because music and his wife were his only two loves. Grant has a band back in Georgia and asks Katie to sing with him as he plays the guitar. To check out her voice, he puts her on the spot and makes her sing with the band at the cafe. She seems nervous, but Grant soon knows how beautiful her voice is. Ben turns up at his late wife Holly's favorite spot on their anniversary. After 20 years of her leaving him, he and Katie still miss her a lot. Grant asks Jim to not pull the funding for Katie's sanctuary, Fields of Blue. Jim doesn't care for disrespectful people like Katie. He wants his sanctuary to respect his orders. When Grant mentions how much Katie cares about horses as a vet, Jim makes fun of him for falling for her. Katie discusses with Ben how all the horses might lose a home if they lose the sanctuary. Ben is only worried about her parents because he knows she can find another job as a vet somewhere. Katie claims she has a way to save the sanctuary and asks him to play for their concert. Ben gets offended at the suggestion and scolds her. When Grant and Katie meet next, they're disappointed about their respective talks. Grant still suggests that he and Katie can form a band for the benefit concert. He thinks they can use her grandpa's name to attract a crowd till they find someone bigger to replace them. She asks him to ride a horse with her so she can think about this. She makes fun of Grant when she realizes he doesn't know how to ride. Even then, after a round trip of the hills, Grant and Katie know they can't let go of the sanctuary. A woman at the cafe Ben frequents asks for an autograph, but he refuses. Katie comforts their new horse, Luna, and brings her to the new home. Don admires how great she is with horses every time. Soon enough, Grant drops by Katie's house so she can hear him play the guitar. Since she doesn't have one, she takes him to Ben. Grant feels nervous when Ben interrogates him about his dad trying to shut down the sanctuary. When Grant mentions that he's helping Katie with the concert, Ben agrees to let him borrow a guitar. He asks Grant to use any guitar except Jenny, which only he can touch. He sits outside and hears Katie singing a Christmas song while Grant plays the guitar. Katie wants to pick a date for the concert so she can focus on the social media campaign. Grant thinks it's more important to get a venue and a band name. Since she believes they're more of a duo currently, he suggests getting more members for a proper band. Katie remembers that Ben's band members still play at a bar nearby and wants to ask them for recommendations. When Katie tries to take Luna out for exercise, she seems disturbed. As Grant tries to help her out, he gets startled and topples the Christmas tree. He offers to replace the angel he broke, but Katie seems very upset with him. Katie explains that she made that angel with her grandparents. It's the last thing she has of her grandmother. Grant feels terrible, but Katie understands that it was an accident. After she composes herself, she takes Grant to the place where the band members still perform. Billy recognizes Katie and asks about Ben. When Katie explains that she needs help with the sanctuary, Billy and the Blue Mountain Revival Boys agree to perform with her for free. Katie knows Ben will be furious when he finds out that she's singing with his band. She knows it's basic courtesy to never steal anyone else's band. She still thinks it's too late to say no to the boys. Grant asks her to seize the situation and finds a venue for the concert. Katie, Grant, and her family work hard over the next few days to fix up the place and rehearse for the songs. Ben comes across a flyer and confronts Katie about stealing his band members. She taunts him about missing out on things since Holly passed away, but he doesn't listen. He offers to give her Claire Crosby's number so she can perform at the concert instead. Katie calls Claire and explains who she is. When Claire learns that Ben wants her help, she asks Katie to send her the dates so she can get back to her. Grant thinks they have everything they need for a great show. Since Claire is so popular, they can earn enough with the fundraiser. Katie explains to Grant that if Claire agrees to play with them, she can't use Ben's band. Grant knows they will need Blue Mountain to play if Claire doesn't agree, so he thinks they should keep rehearsing. When Katie is tending to Luna, Grant reminds her that they're late for band practice. Soon enough, Katie is singing with Ben's band and enjoying herself. Billy has made a list of Christmas songs that Katie can play at the concert. He hasn't added Katie's grandma's favorite song, Go Tell It on the Mountain, because they know Ben wouldn't approve. As Katie gives Grant tips about riding horses, he feels confident about his progress. She knows he's not ready to ride yet, but takes him out on his insistence. When he gets back, he feels humbled after learning how good she is. Ben drops by and hands over his phone to Katie. Claire has agreed to play for them after Ben explained the situation to her. She wants to help with the cause and asks Katie to get in touch with her agent. Katie hugs Ben and is excited about having a huge name in the show. Grant draws up a flyer with Claire's name and is sure their concert will be a huge success. This also means they need to inform the Blue Mountain Revival Boys that they can't play anymore. Katie is worried about confronting them, but Grant shows her the ticket sales after Claire. Katie hopes the boys understand how important this is for the sanctuary. She finds the boys playing a special number at the pub that they want her to approve. Billy thanks Katie for giving them the opportunity for falling in love with music again. Katie feels worse when she admits that Claire is replacing them. She explains that Ben doesn't want them to perform with her. Billy is disappointed that she couldn't stand up to Ben and thinks she's just like him. Katie shouts at Ben because she had to hurt the boys because of his ego. She asks him to realize that he's stealing away a big opportunity from them. She asks him to get over his broken heart like everyone does and learn to live again. As Sarah and Dawn discuss the details of the concert, Grant is excited about their ticket sales shooting up. Miss June thanks Katie for getting Claire to perform for them. She has already bought tickets for her whole family. Grant has also added a live stream component so people outside the city can donate and watch the show. Jim doesn't get why Grant is working so hard for the concert when he's heading back to Atlanta soon. Grant wonders if Jim ever gets the feeling of doing the right thing. Jim thinks money is more important than any emotion. Katie is surprised to find Grant grooming Luna because she never likes anyone. Grant loves that Luna trusts him and is ready for another ride. Grant didn't grow up around horses because he stayed with his mother in Dallas. He's used to the city life but doesn't know if it makes him happy. Katie has found her happy place in the sanctuary, and Grant understands that. They work together on the concert and paint each other's clothes playfully. Suddenly, Katie learns that Claire is canceling because of strained vocal cords. Grant thinks they shouldn't cancel the show because of Claire and suggests getting the Blue Mountain Boys to play again. When Katie doesn't believe that people would like to see her instead of Claire, Grant asks her to stop feeling sorry for herself. Katie accuses him of not caring because she's being positive about the situation. She thinks he's only helping her because he feels guilty for what his dad did. She thinks losing her sanctuary won't affect him because he has a life to go back to. Grant feels disappointed because he cares about her a lot. Katie hasn't announced Claire's cancellation yet or thought about refunding people's tickets. She doesn't want to think about Grant when her parents mention him. Sarah asks her not to lose Grant too after everything he did for her. Jim can tell how disappointed Grant is about Claire not performing for them. Jim apologizes for not being there when Grant was young, but assures him that he still loves him. Grant asks why he's determined to let Chocolate participate in the race when he knows how injured he is. Jim knows that because Chocolate is a former champion, people will bet on him. Jim plans to bet heavily against Chocolate because even he knows Chocolate will get injured again. Grant is tired of Jim's lack of empathy and decides to book tickets back to Atlanta. When Katie gets back to the stable again, she notices the angel on top of the tree. Grant took it out of the trash and glued it for her. He's glad she came to meet him before he left for Atlanta. He asks her to realize that she doesn't have to throw something away just because it's broken. He knows she can find a way to fix something if she loves it. Katie takes the angel straight to Ben's place, but finds him asleep. She writes a note asking him to meet at Holly's spot with the angel. Ben is furious about Katie taking Jenny from his house. Katie refuses to give back the guitar till he finds a way to fix himself. She asks him to fall in love with music again, and gives back the guitar. She clarifies that she's doing this because she loves him. She doesn't care about the show anymore, because they don't have one. As he walks off, she starts singing her grandma's favorite song. Ben gets emotional and finally plays the guitar with her again. Ben apologizes to Billy for ditching the band 2 decades ago and canceling their show. He finally gives Billy permission to play with Katie at the concert. Billy is just glad to have him back and hugs him. Katie apologizes to Grant for being rude to him. She shares the news about the concert being back on track and thinks it's all because of him. When Jim comes to check on Grant, Katie asks him to reconsider making Chocolate race. She still offers to take Chocolate back to the sanctuary even if he's injured. Jim doesn't think she can save the sanctuary without Claire, but Grant is now determined to prove him wrong. Before the concert, Grant assures Katie that the crowd will understand Claire's absence. Sarah and Dawn thank the crowd for contributing in their cause. Katie and Grant watch as Billy asks the boys to perform from their hearts. They hug Katie before starting the show. Dawn introduces Blue Mountain Revival and Katie's performance before letting them have the stage. The crowd seems excited till Katie announces that Claire canceled last minute. She asks them to still give them a chance to perform, but people start walking away. When Ben decides to step in, the crowd feels excited again. With Katie and the rest of the boys, Ben starts performing Holly's favorite song. He even hands over Jenny to Grant so he can sing with Katie. The next morning, Dawn thanks Katie for getting Ben up on the stage after so many years. Even if they don't raise enough money to save the sanctuary, he feels grateful. Grant drops by with Chocolate, who is ready to retire before the race. Grant asks Katie to consider that his dad might not be so bad after all deep down. He knows Katie didn't meet the target, so Jim has given her a blank check to cover the difference and save the sanctuary. He also wants to return Jenny, since Ben left it with him last night. Ben is all set to go on a reunion tour with his band again. They're getting a lot of calls after their live stream went viral. Ben thanks Katie for getting him back and offers to play for free at her wedding. When they leave, Katie and Grant decide to ride again. He admits that she is his happy place and kisses her.